Welcome, Firing Line. This is Rick Travis, the Director of Development for the California Rifle Pistol Association, filling in for your host, Phil Naiman. And today's guest, Sam Paredes, who is the Executive Director of Gun Owners of California, to talk about, well, the subject of the week, the month, and possibly the year, not COVID-19, but the presidential elections. Sam, welcome aboard.
It's a pleasure to be with you, Rick, as always. I hope you are doing well. If you're doing anything like me, you're tired, beat up, and other things that only some liquid assistance would help to solve.
You know, Sam, 20 years ago we had an election in 2000, and I honestly thought after the debacle in Florida, watching people with oversized magnifying glasses looking for hanging shad and everything that went on with the litigation, that we, America, would have learned from that and would have had a better election system.
If anything is true, is that sometimes we just never learn. There are a lot of states that should have learned. I think Florida did a pretty good job of coming back from their very embarrassing setup and situation. But it seems like the whole Northwest, Upper Northwest, and other states didn't pay any attention. You have states like Texas and Louisiana and Mississippi and Alabama and now Florida that were able to handle all of the early ballot counting, no problem, got their votes in a timely manner. Everybody knew what was going on. But these other states, it was like, what do you mean early ballots are coming in? And why should we count them ahead of time? We're going to wait and count them afterwards. Oh, we didn't know that this was going to be the highest turnout election in the history of presidential elections. We don't have enough people to do this or that, and the toilet's clogged and the sink is overflowing, and we don't know what to do. So you guys are just going to have to wait for us. We're going to take the rules that have been established by our legislatures, which is what the Constitution allows, is for every state to run their own elections. But they have to follow the directives that are set by the legislature. A lot of these rinky-dink elections operations are making up their own rules as they go along because they were too short-sighted to see what was going to happen this election year. So, yeah, it's an unqualified mess out there.
One of the things I found ironic was at the same time, like here in Southern California, we can't do exit polling because of COVID. Yet the polls would have been conducted at a movie theater that, other than on election day, is closed down to us accessing for COVID. But somehow when it's election time and the governor of California wants to collect more ballots, there is no COVID at the local movie theater. And so you can show up at the Pantages or the Palladium or wherever and cast as many votes. And a lot of people just showed up to vote so they could go to the Palladium for free. It just seems like it's skewing the process in many, many ways.
Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. You cannot look at anything any differently. There is no nonpartisan, bipartisan, fair and balanced approach to the electoral process right now. It doesn't exist. It is one side against the other. Which one does the best job of organizing, and which one wins and which one is defeated. That's what it's boiled down to. I mean, we're looking right now at a nightmare situation of lawsuits that are being filed, and I'm not criticizing lawsuits. I think the lawsuits are absolutely appropriate. I sure as heck wish that the Supreme Court would have taken on a couple of cases that were filed with them a couple of weeks before the election and given some guidelines to prevent the disaster that we're in that spills all the way over here to California. Yeah, they went way crazy for Biden, but in the legislature and in local races, it's still a mess, man. And we're going to have to live with this for elections to come.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the messages I want to get out to the listeners is, as we talk today, one of the messages that both Gun Owners of California and the California Rifle Pistol Association want to push and push hard is Payback is only about 19 months away. And we have a chance to really move the dial, even here in California, which I know a lot of people who I talk to are depressed right now. But there are some critical races that we're going to talk in this next segment about, where you can see where our efforts have really started to pay off. And we have a big chance during the midterms to really turn this around. But I think we also need to be able to educate our listeners of start looking, because just as we say what happens in California goes across the nation, what happens in Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Nevada, Arizona on our borders will also be attempted, especially under this governor, to be replicated here in California.
100%, man. That's an absolutely perfect thing. And one of the message that I want to convey to people is that if you are a supporter of California Rifle Pistol Association, Gun Owners of California, trust us for the information that we provide. We do all the push-ups. We do all the hard work to develop accurate information and provide it to you. Our job is not to get you, ginned up in phony operations. And when you look at some of the races out here, you're going to say, well, we never had a chance. But we will talk about why it was important to be involved in some of these races, even though they were long shot odds. So, this is important. It's an honor to be working in cooperation with you, Rick, and CRPA.
No, it's always wonderful working with you, Sam, and I'm excited and chomping at the bit. So we're going to close down this first segment, but we'll be back in just a moment with Firing Line Radio to look at what's going on in the political results here in California that impact you directly.